reveals United's shock move for Edison and previous bids, which has some fans talking. Is Edison the right priority midfielder for Manchester United? Is it the right signing? Will he partner Ugarte? Well, more updates coming in on Antony's exit. Atletico interested, Real Betis interested, but Barcelona are now being linked to Antony in a surprise move. The more interested Antony, the better it can spark a bidding war. It can get the fee up. United's plans for Amorim in his future have very much been revealed. He is safe. He's going to get the summer. But look, if next season goes badly, he could be sacked. But they want to give him the summer, even if we fail to win the Europa League and finish 17th. There's more updates on Liam Delap. Some fans are worried about Manchester United's focus on Liam Delap and think we should be looking elsewhere. And of course, an update on Marcus Rashford and his future. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup. Well, I'm going to round up all the latest Manchester United news that you need to know into a 10-minute video. Feel free to hit that like button, and of course, subscribe down below if you're new. So, United resume talks for Edison, but will need to make a better offer than what we made last summer. So it's been confirmed that United are going back in for Edison. He is a midfield target. And it's also confirmed that United actually made a bid for Edison last summer. Now, one thing about United is unless they're genuinely interested in a player, they're not going to make a bid for that player. We get linked to a million trillion players all the time. But when we make a bid for a player, even if we don't get him, it shows that that's a player that we weren't just interested in, we were willing to go for. So we knew last summer we were interested in Edison. But now we know just how interested we were in Edison and the fact that we are willing to go for him with that bid being revealed, which has obviously got a lot of Manchester United fans talking. But what was actually said by Alfredo Padella? He said new contacts are underway between United and Atalanta right now over Edison. The club made a 42 million bid last summer, but it wasn't enough. United remain very keen on the midfielder and will raise their offer to get the deal done, is what's being said. And we'll need to raise the offer to get the deal done. We don't know if United will raise their offer, but we need to basically bid around 50 million to get the deal done. And United are very interested in the midfielder. I think they will sort out Cunha, they will sort out Delap, they will focus on some sales, and I think if they've got the funds, I think they will go for Edison. But a few fans are talking about this. Now, first of all, we know that Edison is an actual target. We know that we've made moves for him because Romano even said that United have discussed Edison with club officials, and United contacted the players' camp just a couple of months ago to express interest in that they're going to make a move potentially in the summer because he's viewed as a top midfield candidate. That's been said by Romano. The bid last year has been confirmed. We're making a move for Edison this summer. But what is everybody's thoughts? I want you to let me know your thoughts down below, because he's a priority midfield target. We're going to make our move. But fans are concerned. We need a midfielder that can help him build up, receive the ball with his back to goal, turn out, play out from the press, help him build up. We're very bad at playing out from the back. We're very bad in build up. And we definitely need a midfielder that's going to help him build up. Edison is fantastic. He's a monster. He's all right on the ball, but he's not a build up specialist. And there's concerns of this is a great midfielder. You know, he would work really well with Bruno Fernandes. He wouldn't work with Ugarte. But we still haven't addressed that issue in build up, particularly in midfield. Maybe he'd play quite well with Kobbie Mainoo, who knows? But there is doubts. There is doubts about Edison because I think Edison is a fantastic player. I think he's a fantastic midfielder. I think he would be a big, good signing for the squad. But I also think we need a midfielder that is good in build-up. And I think I can understand why fans are concerned. I wouldn't play him with Ugarte, but I do think him and Bruno Fernandes could play very well together in the deeper roles at United. And I think, look, at the end of the day, this is a very good, very proven box-to-box midfielder that's a very good player. If we sign Edison, I'm happy depending on the fee. I wouldn't spend more than 50 million on Edison. There's other profiles and priorities we need. But are you getting at Edison for £45 million? It's not a bad deal. But the biggest fear is Atalanta, look at the kind of money they got for Højlund, 72 million. Even Ahmad at the time was seen as expensive. It's paid off the Ahmad one. Atalanta know when Manchester United come in that they can ask for a fortune and that United sometimes just step up and pay it. And that is my only worry there. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying actually, but let's continue on into the next story. It was said by sources in Spain that Atletico Madrid are planning to hold talks with Manchester United for Antony. Now, there's been quite a few reports coming out of Spain the last week or two that Atletico Madrid have interest in Antony. It's either one, they do have interest in Antony. 2, Spanish media are making it up for clicks, or 3, Manchester United know that Real Betis keep offering loan deals and don't want to pay out the money for Antony, and Man United know that Real Betis want to keep Antony, so they're spreading stories that Atleti are going for him, this club's going for him, that club's going for him, to scare Betis into thinking, well, they can't do a loan deal, they've actually got to do a permanent deal if they want Antony, rather than playing Manchester United into another loan. It was said last week that Atletico Madrid manager Diego Simeone has identified Antony as an ideal strike partner for Julian Alvarez. United will want 35 to 40 million euros, a permanent deal. I think Antony, £30 million is a decent deal. Atletico can pay that. Real Betis, I think, while they're not made of money, they could probably comfortably pay that if they get in European football next season, which they probably will do thanks to Antony. And Real Betis keep talking about loan this, loan that. But if Barcelona are interested, if Atletico Madrid are interested, well, you can't do a loan deal. Now, talking of Barcelona interest, again, not the best source of information, so I would say it with a pinch of salt. But £30 million, look at Rafinha, what Barcelona did. They might say, you know what, there's a player we could do something with here. And could Barcelona be making a surprise move for Antony? Now, hopefully, it's Rashford that goes to Barcelona and Antony goes to another Spanish club. But let's read this. Barcelona are looking to complete low-cost signings this summer and have their sights set firmly on Antony. Rashford for 40 million, Antony for 30 million. Barcelona need another winger. I think ideally more of a left winger because Rafinha can play central. I think Barcelona could move for a Manchester United winger, knowing that we're selling them on a cut price, knowing that those wingers would probably take a pay cut to go to Barcelona. Antony's form in La Liga may push them towards Antony, but Rashford's always been seen as the better option. So let's continue on into some more stories. Now, we are actually going to talk about Rashford and Delap in a second, but I want to get into the news on Ruben Amorim. TalkSport said that Manchester United's hierarchy have no immediate plans to replace Ruben Amorim as manager, and David Ornstein said changing the coach is the last thing on Manchester United's agenda. United's priority is to provide Ruben Amorim with players who will allow him to play the style he wants to implement. So despite some sources and rumours, and to be honest, I said it yesterday, BS reports coming out yesterday that Amorim could be sacked if he doesn't win the Europa League, all the credible journalists have said, look, even if he doesn't win the Europa League, United aren't going to sack him in the summer. They're going to back him in the summer. But a lot of reports did say yesterday that while Ruben Amorim isn't going to be sacked and while he's going to be backed in the summer, if this time next year we are poor, they will sack Ruben Amorim if they're not seeing enough next season. We get to November next season and it's not good. They will be willing to trigger and sack Ruben Amorim. They will be willing to make that change. So, Ruben Amorim's sort of make or break in the summer. The pressure's going to be on. It's not been good now, but he's got to fix up in the summer. And look, I believe that Ruben Amorim can potentially fix up in the summer. What he did with Sporting after one summer, with a few signings coming in, I think our underlying numbers are a lot better than where we are in the league, and that should hopefully balance out. But that is the truth of the matter. And you know what I like about Ruben Amorim? Is he's saying things that I'm really embarrassed that in 26 Premier League games we've won 6, something is wrong with the way we play. Rather than trying to make excuses and save himself, Ruben Amorim has sat there just taking the blame, saying, look, I've won 6 of 26 games, I'm embarrassed, something is wrong. Whereas if you look at Ange Postecoglou, he keeps talking about why this will be a brilliant season for Spurs if they win a trophy. While Ruben Amorim is like, even if we win the Europa, it's not a good season for Manchester United, is what Amorim is saying. And I like the fact that he's willing to take a bit of responsibility. Let's get into these stories on Liam Delap. So, recent reports have said that Delap is leaning towards a move to Manchester United. United and Chelsea are leading contenders to trigger his 30 million release clause. The striker is keen to return to United, the Northwest. United's chance improve if they win the Europa League and qualify for the Champions League, because Delap would prefer to play in the UCL next season. So look, Manchester United want Delap. Amorim's always had an interest in Delap. Jason Wilcock's had an interest in Delap. Delap for £30 million is a good player, and that is a good price. And I think that Delap would be a good deal for £30 million. But I almost want Delap and another striker. I don't want just Delap, and that is the solution to being a striker. But I've always felt that Chelsea are going to win the race for Delap. I've always felt that Chelsea... Ooh. I just realised that my mic was all the way over there, so I feel like the audio might have gone really bad. I've always felt like Chelsea were the favourites for Delap, but more and more sources suggesting that, Man United favourites to Delap, he's leaning towards United. I think he's guaranteed game time at United more than anywhere else. But the interesting thing is, they're talking about, if we get UCL qualification through winning the Europa League, Delap's more likely to come. But if we get UCL qualification, surely that will give us the funds to get an Osimhen and Gyökeres. I feel like Delap's who we go for if we lose the Europa League final. But if we win the Europa League final, we try and pay that money for Osimhen. We try and pay that money for Gyökeres because we want Delap over Osimhen. And United are very much saying, we only want players that really want to join the project. But Delap is suggesting he only wants to join if we win the Europa League. Whereas Osimhen, yes, he wants ridiculous wages, but has suggested he's open to joining whether in the Europa League, whether in the Europe or not, whether in the Champions League or not. So the only question is, would Delap be willing to come if we don't win the Europa League final? Because for me, Delap is who we sign if we don't win the Europa League final. If we do win the Europa League final, I think we push for Osimhen. I think we push for Gyökeres. I think Jonathan David's one that I think we're completely sleeping on, if I'm going to be totally honest. Like, I like Delap. I think he's a good player, but I feel that we need an experienced proper striker to lead the line, or someone else to come on top of Delap. Delap and Mbeumo Cunha I could do, because Mbeumo and Cunha know they're goal scorers. Whereas Delap, I worry with him being marked more heavy at United, the less service, would he struggle? I think he's a great player. I think it could be a great signing, but I think it's a risk. And I think with the strikers we've had in the past, are we in a position to take a risk? That is the worrying thing. It was also said as well by sources that Marcus Rashford is desperate to join Barcelona. This has been reported by many sources that Marcus Rashford is really keen to join Barcelona. I think he's open to joining Aston Villa, but I think he will wait for Barcelona. And I hope Barcelona go for Rashford because I think they're both made for each other. I think it would work really well. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.